Are you a newly qualified plumber or gas engineer looking to start your own business? One of the things you will need to consider is, what vehicle do you require? The obvious choice would be something like a mid-range panelled van, something like a Ford Transit or a Vauxhall Vivaro, but that might be out of your budget or not practical for you to use. So my name is Derek Robbins from Tomcat Gas Training, and this video is hopefully going to help newly qualified gas engineers or plumbers to choose which vehicle to help them in their day-to-day work. The two vehicles here are mine. This is a 2011 Citroen Berlingo, and this is a 2015 Ford Ranger Limited. So let's see if a small van or a pickup truck is the right vehicle for you when you're a brand new qualified trainee or gas engineer wanting to go about your business earning some money. So, let's get on with it. So the first vehicle we're going to be looking at is this little baby. This is a Citroen Berlingo. This is a 2011, and I bought this brand new for my son when he passed his driving test so he could use it for work. I paid 11 grand for it, and it was just in the crossover time when they were changing over from this style to the style we've got now. Now this vehicle was originally launched in 2002 but got this upgrade in 2008 and then was upgraded again in 2011. So rather than discontinuing the name, Citroen saw a gap in the market for a no-frills van and continued with the Berlingo, and the Berlingo's still going today. Now, as we're going to find out, this Berlingo isn't the finest of vans out there, but it does carry 600 kilograms and it can fit a UK pallet in the back. So let's have a close look and let's have a look inside. Let's start off by having a look under the bonnet. The 75 brake horsepower 1.4 petrol engine is probably the best engine if you're not doing a lot of miles, but it doesn't offer the old pulling weight like the diesel does. But the petrol works keener and gets up to temperature a lot quicker than the diesel engine does. In here I have the HDI 1.6 litre turbo diesel, which again offers a massive 75 brake horsepower. So this van's ideal for long haul or nipping through the streets to the shops, or even quite long journeys on the motorway. This diesel can easily offer 40 miles per the gallon even if you're loaded with your tools. Getting into the Berlingo couldn't be any easier, thanks to these really large doors and the seats being at a great height. So there's no need to haul yourself in or drag yourself out. It's incredibly easy to get in or out. Once you actually get inside the Berlingo van, you don't actually live like a pauper. Citroen gives you central locking, electric windows, CD player, even gives you controls on the steering wheel to be able to operate the radio. How good's that then? You also get power steering, airbag, but the passenger don't get an airbag. So once you look around the cab, you can see it's pretty much got the Citroen plasticky horrible dashboard, but the seats are quite good and comfy, and inside is quite durable even if it is quite plasticky and cheap looking. Now, one of the things what does show you cheap on this van, we have one electric mirror. So this operates the passenger mirror. So what operates the driver's? A lever. How cheap is that? Some people find the driving position quite awkward too, and it's not that good for me, to be fair, because of this grille on the back here. It makes me sit quite bolt upright, which I don't want to do. But the steering wheel does adjust up and down, but but it doesn't come forward or go away from you. That's another disappointment. The driver's seat does slide back and forth easy, and there's also a big knob here for twisting it up and down, but because of this bulkhead I needed it to go back just a little bit, and a little lumbar support wouldn't have gone amiss. But I am 6'2" and I have loads of headroom, so and some of the vans even have a shelf here as well, so I haven't got that one. But yeah, you do feel like you've got lots of room in here, and it has a massive windscreen you can see out of really easily. The storage inside the cab is good. You get a glove box, and you also get another little space above here, and another space at the top as well to put your paperwork. You've got a little shelf here where you can put your money and stuff, and we've got good deep pockets in the doors, and we've also got a really good console. But shame about the cup holders, pretty rubbish really. You can't get two cups next to each other. Anyway, you get one cigarette lighter, is it 12 volts connection there? But there's no Bluetooth and there's no hands-free or anything like that in this car. Remember, it is nearly 10 years old, this car. There's also a great space behind the seats, which would be the footwell if it was the version of this car where the seats in the back. Anyway, you'll find your jack here and also the wheel brace. So this is on both sides, and it's really good space to hide your stuff where you don't want those guys looking in who come at the middle of the night to help themselves. So to finish off in the cab, electric windows are a good touch. There's electric windows on both sides. Not automatic going back up though. What's that all about? Automatic going down, but not going back up. But other than that, it's not a bad place to be. As for the dash layout, everything's dead easy to get at. You don't really need to take your eyes off the road once you get used to it, because you know where everything is. And like I say, the controls on the steering wheel are really good, so you don't even have to play around with the radio. But there aren't that many controls anyway. You've got, as usual, you've got heater and cooling, no aircon though, and electric windows. We've also got a locking button for locking the central locking once we're inside the car, and the hazard lights, and that's pretty much all you get. We do get a rev counter though, so that's a good thing. Obviously we've got a temperature gauge and a fuel gauge, as well as the speedometer. Now this van has done 63,264 miles in its life, so it's not done too bad. It's still in reasonably good condition, and up to 12 months ago it only had 30,000 miles on the clock. Word of warning guys, don't lend your van to anybody. Anyway, that's another story. But other than that, it's not a bad van to drive. I have driven quite a long distances in it, and yeah, it's not a bad little drive. So that's enough for the cab. Let's see what's in the back. These twin hinged rear doors were standard for the Berlingo, but you could actually buy a Berlingo with a tailgate which had a heated rear screen and wash wipe on it, but that would have stopped your access if you were trying to get a pallet into the back, so that wasn't really a good idea. But these doors do swing all the way open, so you can easily get a forklift truck right up to the bumper to load this pallet. Another option for the Berlingo was this sliding door, but with minimum access and only a small area which is easy accessible from the back doors, the only time you're ever going to use this door is to get your service bag out. But it does have a nifty lock which you have to push to stop it slamming shut on you. So inside this loading bay there are floor mounting securing eyes. We've also got an internal light, and it's a simple ladder frame bulkhead behind the driver, as you can see. The bare metal floor is tough, but I bought an optional plywood flooring and side panels, as you can see, and also for the back door to save on any scuffs and the tools rattling around. I also bought some grills for the back door to stop someone smashing the back window and just leaning in and grabbing all my tools, which is a must these days with all the thefts from vans. So maximum payload for the Berlingo is 600 kilograms, which should be more than sufficient for most gas engineers who only do breakdowns and servicing. The gross weight is 2,000 kilograms. So the area of this cargo space is from wheel arch to wheel arch is 1,160 mil, or 45 3/4 inches, or 1,400 millimeters, or 55 inches, from the top of the bulkhead there to the back doors, and 1,120 from the floor to here, or 44 inches, which gives us a cubic meterage of 1.8 meters cubed. So that's our load capacity, but remember, it's not just the size of the area, it's the weight you're carrying. Now that's a look at this Citroen Berlingo. So let's have a look at this Ford Ranger Limited, and let's see the difference between a 2015 vehicle and a 2011. This Ford Ranger is a durable, rugged machine built in the same mould as its American cousin, the Ford Raptor. With its muscle car styling and its large carrying capacity, it makes it a very versatile machine for a new plumber, gas engineer, or anybody else in the building trade. This Ranger is an incredibly strong vehicle and has a 3.5 ton towing capacity. As well as being one of the best at towing, it's also amazing off-road. So if you need to take your truck off-road, this is the vehicle for you. So that's a look on the outside. Let's get inside and let's have a look at the features it offers. You know, we're getting on with it. This third generation Ranger was initially introduced in 2011 and came with two engine types, a 2.2 and a 3.2, both being turbo diesel engines. So the 2.2 had 125 brake horsepower and the 3.2 had 150 brake. In 2013, Ford gave the 2.2 a power increase, giving the 2.2 130 brake horsepower and the 3.2 160 brake horsepower. This also improved the fuel economy. The engine I've got in this one is the 2.2 TDCi turbo diesel engine, which is incredibly thirsty. I think I get about 21 miles to the gallon driving in town, and about 25-27 when I go on a long journey. So it's not the most economical vehicle out there, and it's certainly nowhere near my Berlingo, which I get about 40. So far the Berlingo is winning on economy. Getting in and out of this Ford Ranger isn't as easy as the Berlingo, especially if you're a bit on the short side. For me, it's not a problem. So we do have some steps here which enables us to get in and out of the vehicle easier. But for me, it's not a problem. It is fun though, seeing my 84-year-old dad try to get in it. Anyway, so this cabin is spacious and very comfortable and very durable looking, like it could actually cope with the day-to-day life of being a plumber or a gas engineer or anybody in the building trade really. The driving position in this truck is very, very good. It's very comfortable, like I say, especially with these lovely leather seats you get in this Limited as standard. You also get leather seats as standard in the Wild Track, but the other ranges, it's an optional extra. Now in this armrest, we've got two parts to it. So the first part down there, we've got a fridge. So this can get, I think I got 6 bottles of water in there when we were in France, and it's kept cool by the air conditioning. So that's the bottom part, and the top part is this nifty little shelf. So that's what you get inside the armrest. Again, the steering wheel adjusts. It goes up and down, but again doesn't come forward or go away from you. Why do some cars have that yet trucks don't? So that's a disappointment. But the actual layout of this truck and the actual spec you get in this truck is amazing. Now this driver's seat comes with electric seats, so you can move quite easily, and we can go in all kinds of different positions, and you can get in your perfect driving position. It even goes up and down. But only the driver's seat is electric. The passenger has to move it manually. Cuts cost probably. But both seats at the front are heated as well, with them being leather. It's amazing. Just makes you feel like you've pooed your pants though when you've been... Anyway, that's another story. So this cabin can easily carry 4 grown-ups and 1 child. Or you can have 3 kids in the back. When we look at the back you'll see that. But the spec you get in this, absolutely amazing. We get climate control, and it's for the passenger and the driver. We get CD player, we get cruise control, we get controls on the steering wheel for the cruise control and for the radio. We have hill ascent and descent, and we've got traction control. And it's also got this, when you're towing, it stops the trailer swaying the truck, so towing assist, but I've never towed anything with this, so I don't know. It's also got sat navigation. It's also got reversing camera in the rear view mirror, which is amazing, and it's also got parking sensors, and all this comes as standard in the Limited. We also get electric powered windows for all 4 windows, which the driver can operate, and this time it's automatic, the driver's going down, and also automatic going up, so we beat the Berlingo on that one. We've also got locking, so we can lock all the windows from here as well, and we've also got locking inside as well, so we can lock the doors as well inside. So we got all the mod cons in here. So when you're sat behind the steering wheel of this Ford Ranger, you get this invincibility feeling because you're so high up, so you get a fantastic view. Being my height, 6'2", there's not massive amount of headroom in my driving position, and you are slightly restricted in the windscreen, especially by the rear view mirror, but other than that it has got great all-around vision. And with this reversing camera and the parking sensors, when you're parking in a supermarket car park, it couldn't be any easier. With this all-round vision and being able to see behind you, blows away the Berlingo. Now the dashboard plastic, it's 10 times better than the Berlingo, but not as good as the Ford cars. It's still a bit chocolate boxy, but it's a truck at the end of the day. You do get some nice touches like leather here, on here, and we get this lovely armrest, which is also made of leather. So we do get some quality touches. The steering wheel is great as well, but at the end of the day, it's a truck, not a car. It's also not the quietest place to sit. We'll find that out when we take it for a test drive. But the radio does increase when the noise increases in the truck automatically. That's a really nice touch. So this Ranger Limited I've got is the automatic version, which is the 6-speed automatic. I think they call it a Kryptonic gearbox because you can move it into sport mode and manually go up and down through the 6 gears. It's also 4-wheel drive as standard, and you can adjust the 4-wheel drive while you're on the move, and they say you could do that up to 60 mile an hour. I've not tried it going 60 mile an hour, I've done it at 30. But 4-wheel drive in the UK is not amazing. It's good if we're going off-road, but in the winter when it does snow, which only probably snows 2 days a year, we still can't go anywhere because nobody else has got 4-wheel drive, so you just get stuck anyway. But it is great for when you're towing, it is great when you're off-roading, and it can pull you out of a few tight spots, which it has done on this car park basically. So that's a quick look inside the cabin and the front. Let's have a look in the back and let's see what you get there. So getting into the back of this Ford Ranger isn't the hardest thing in the world to do, and sitting in the back isn't the worst place ever to be. As you can see, I've still got a little tiny bit of headroom here. This is my driving position, so this seat's set for me to drive, and I've still got a bit of room here for my legs. So what do we actually get in here? Well, I've got an electric window. I've got down here in the centre console, I've got a little tiny shelf and a socket for 12 volt. There are two pockets, one behind the passenger seat, one behind the driver's seat. We have an armrest in the middle, so if I pull that down, we've still got a bit of an armrest and two cup holders. So, like I say, it is a bit of a squash to get 3 adults in the back, but if you were sat in the middle, we have to sit astride the prop shaft, but yeah, I can still fit here, and I'm still not the comfiest in the world, but not the uncomfiest. So yeah, 3 kids easily, 2 adults and a kid, not bad. 3 adults, bit of a squash. So as long as you're not going on massive long journeys, it's not bad in the back of here. Also in the back here, if I lift the back seat up, pull this little tab here and lift this back seat up, we've got some secret storage. So in a little pocket here, we've even got a hook which hooks onto this space here, this little socket here, to keep the seat up, and we can actually get a bike in the back of here, and an adult's bike, because I've done it. This secret storage is a nifty idea. So basically we've got 2 bins under here, and we could put stuff in it. How good's that? Now, if I pull this little tab here, the back seats go forward. And what we find here is the jack and the bag of tools, and also what I've got here on the other side is my European tool bag you have to carry when you're going across Europe or around Europe. So in there will be my little warning triangle, my high-vis vest, and 2 breathalyzers. So being a teetotaler, don't think they'll ever get used. But anyway, that's inside the cabin of this 2015 Ford Ranger. So let's have a look at the business end, and let's go and have a look at the back in the cargo bed. Come on then, let's go. Now all models get a large load bed. This being a double cab is smaller than the single cab, but they can hold about 1100 kilograms. Now Ford offer quite a large range of covers for the back of these, ranging from covers like this to full backs, which actually turns it into a panelled van, and they're there to make sure that they keep your tools and your equipment secure, and again, so those prying eyes don't see what you've got. As part of the 2013 upgrades was the towing capacity of this truck, where it went from 3.3 tonnes to 3.5 tonnes, and this tow bar comes standard with this limited model, and it also comes with the Wild Track. It's an optional extra for all the others. Now getting into the back of this truck could be easier. First thing though is we've got a separate lock for the tailgate, which is a bit of a pain. Why couldn't it be with the central locking? I do believe you can get an add-on where you could have it linked to the petrol cap and it'll work with the central locking, but drops down dead easy because I've got a damper on that side which allows it to drop down, and it will take quite a lot of weight. So you can see now loading into this is going to be quite easy if there's 2 people or you're using a pallet truck or a forklift truck. I have here the mounting top roller shutter, again, which is incredibly easy, and it gives you a nice strong strap so you can pull it back. So what do we get in the back? Well, basically we get hooks for strapping stuff down, and I've also got these extra rail straps which are an optional extra for this truck. But one thing we do get as standard, we get another 12-volt socket in the back here, and I have used it. Alright, it was plugging in a battery operated fridge when we went on holiday, but it still got used. So that's the standard stuff you get in the back. So let's have a look how big it is. So the opening at the back is 1,300 millimeters long, or 51 inches, and 480 millimeters or 19 inches high from the bottom of the bed here to where the cover would go. That's the size of this front opening. It's 57 inches or 1,440 mil from the bulkhead to where the tailgate lifts up, and it's 1,120 mil or 44 inches between the wheel arches. So from those measurements you can see it's about 0.8 of a metre cubed, which is nearly a metre cubed less than the Berlingo, but that's with the cover on the back. Obviously if we had the roller shutter open, we could have anything we want in the back, within reason. Now, so far we've found out that they can both fit a pallet in them. We've found out that this has got all the bells and whistles, and we found out that this does 40 miles per gallon. But which is the best one to drive? And the only way we're going to find that out is if we take them for a spin. So we started off looking at the Berlingo, so let's take the Berlingo for its first spin. Come on. Now we're leaving the car park. We can first try out the Citroen suspension, because in the lane we have one of the biggest potholes you'll ever come across. So let's try out this suspension and see what it's like. Hardly felt a thing. So Citroen have the famous 2CV, which had air suspension, and they reckon the Berlingo, which hasn't got leaf springs in the back, it's got dampers, feels like the same ride. So we have got a bit of camera wobble, which we're going to have because it's attached to the windscreen, but you know, not bad. Now this driving position, with the way the angle the steering wheel is on, it makes you feel like you're in a go-kart, but it's not quite like a go-kart. 0 to 60 time for this little beauty, just over 13 seconds. So it's about as fast, there's a speed bump there we're just going over, it's about as fast as an aircraft carrier. So we're just going down this road now, and there's loads of speed bumps, so can you tell? But yeah, we're just going over one there. We're just coming up to another one there. So it soaks up the bumps. Now the steering is very, very light and very responsive for a van. The gearbox is quite smooth as well, but it feels like your gears are about 1.5 miles apart. But you can also hear my squeaky clutch. Now this van's had a squeaky clutch since the day I bought it. That's 10 years ago, and it's just kind of turned out now that it's part of life. We have the squeaky clutch. Now it's not the best drive in the world, this van, it never will be, but it's incredibly nippy. It's a smooth drive. It's a lot better when there's a lot of gear in the back. I've only got a few tools in the back at the moment, so it can be a bit bouncy. and a bit echoey as well when you're driving. But on a road like we're on now, it's quite smooth and responsive. So let's take it on the motorway and give it a blast down the motorway and let's see the difference. So I'm doing 30 mile an hour now. I don't know whether I need to be shouting or not, but they reckon I shout anyway because of what I do for a living. But we'll get it on the motorway and we'll see exactly what it sounds like on the motorway. Now we're just coming up to the roundabout to get us onto the motorway. So let's see what the baby can do, and let's open the taps and get to this 70 mile an hour and see how we do. So there's 30. Try out this 5-speed manual gearbox. So we're coming up to 60. Let's get her in 5th. We're up to 70 mile an hour. There you go, we're at 70 mile an hour. Cruising along. So hopefully you can still hear what I'm saying. It is a bit noisy in here now. It's even worse when you have a window down, because it rattles on the back of this as well. Now, one of the things I have found wrong with this van, which I found from day one, was when I'm driving in my work boots. The 3 pedals are too close together. So what happens is, when you come to put your foot on the brake, you end up hitting the clutch. So that was a bit scary at first, but all I do now is just drive in my trainers, go to work in my trainers, take my trainers off, put my work boots on. So that was job done. But yeah, the pedals are too close together. But that's cruising along at 70 mile an hour. Not much wind noise. Smooth ride. We're just coming off the motorway now. So that's the Berlingo. So let's get back to the house, get the Ranger, and let's do the same trip in the Ranger and compare them and see which is the best ride. Now let's do the same journey in the Ranger as we've just done in the Berlingo, but let's get the aircon on. It's a bit warm. Something we couldn't do in the Berlingo. Anyway, so straight away, as soon as you get into this vehicle, you can feel it's a lot higher than the Berlingo and a lot more wobbly. So it wallows a lot more in this truck than it does in the Berlingo. So let's try going through this same pothole and see any difference. Yep, you can feel it wobbles a lot more than the Berlingo does. And then we'll see if we notice the speed bumps. Now when this truck was brand new, it was over 25 grand. and I paid 17 grand for it 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago. And I checked up yesterday, and you can buy the same spec car, same year, with round about the same miles. It's just done over 80,000 miles this, so it's actually done more miles than the Berlingo, even though it's half its age. But it was very high mileage when I first bought it. But yeah, you can buy this now for about 13.5, 14 grand. Whereas the Berlingo, I paid 11 grand for it 10 years ago or so, and you can get it for 2.5 grand for the same mileage. So over the first speed bump. So I can tell there's a lot more camera wobble in this truck than there was in the Berlingo. Now, the wobble's just too bad now for me to continue with the camera on the windscreen. It's just absolutely horrendous. So pulled over and moved the camera, so hopefully it doesn't wobble as much now it's on the dashboard rather than on the windscreen. So anyway, as I was saying, this 6-speed automatic gearbox, you had to pay extra for it when you bought this brand new. Now I'm coming up to the 40 mile an hour zone now, so I'm doing 40 mile an hour and I'm doing 2,000 revs. And this gearbox has always kind of struggled getting up this hill, always, from day one since I've had it. It's always like the gears aren't right for going slow up a hill. So this 2.2 150 brake horsepower 4-cylinder turbo diesel has 30 to 370 Newton meters torque. Whatever that means. I have no clue what that means whatsoever. Is it good? Is that a good figure? Anyway, it's 0 to 60 time about 11 seconds. So we're going to see how quick it is. So let's get on this motorway. Well, we're at the roundabout now, we're just going on the motorway now. So I'm doing 20 mile an hour as we're going onto the motorway. We're just going up to 3,000 revs. We just changed gear now. So we're at 50 mile an hour, and it just changed again. We're now 60, now coming up to 70 mile an hour, 3,000 revs, and it's just dropped down to 2,000 revs when it changed into 6th gear. So we're doing 70 mile an hour, 2,000 revs, and it is a little bit more noisy. It's not as noisy as the Berlingo, but the ride is just million miles apart. Now, I've been to France in this twice now. France, when you get over to France, just put the cruise control on, 50 mile an hour. Oof, not an effort to drive whatsoever. But if I'd done that in the Berlingo, I probably would have had a really sore left foot. Your left foot does nothing. It gets to the point where, because your left foot's doing nothing, you have to keep banging it on the floor to see if it's alive in long journeys. So this just cruises along. Now Ford say this is like driving a car. Nothing like driving a car at all. The driving experience is completely different from a car. God knows what cars Ford's driven to say it's like driving a car. But it is a great experience if you've never driven a truck before. They are, like I say, very wallowy. You're all over the road if you're light. But this car has special suspension to even out your loads if you don't put your load right. But it is leaf spring suspension on the back, unlike the Berlingo, which has these kind of damper system. So that's why it's a very bouncy when there's no weight in the back. But when you've got weight in the back, it just cruises along. So we're just coming off the motorway now, and we're just coming to the traffic lights at the end. Don't think I mentioned the 23 cubby holes this Ranger's got, including this sun glasses holder here. And also what it can do is it can turn its ears in when you're parked up. So yeah, there's a button on the dashboard here what you can press, and the wing mirrors come in so people can get past, even though This isn't as wide as a Ford Mondeo, but it is just over 5.5 meters long. But like I say, with the reversing camera and the sensors, it's dead easy to park. Considering I've been driving vans all my life, it is incredibly easy. Always reverse. If you're driving a van, always reverse into a space. It's a lot easier. So that's the drive with the Ford Ranger. Comparing it to the Berlingo, the Berlingo is a lovely little van to drive. It's very, very nippy. It's got that lovely squeaky clutch. I love that. It's a squeaky pedal, not the squeaky clutch. But I've never fixed it because I just love it. But it is no comparison to driving this. But it's, what do you want? What do you want in your vehicle? Now, if you've got a family and you still want to work as a plumber or a gas engineer, and you need to carry your wife and kids around, this is amazing. You couldn't do it in the Berlingo. But if you've got no kids, there's only you and your wife, or you're on your own, the Berlingo's perfect for being a plumber or a gas engineer. It depends on what you want, what your budget is. You know, there's transit vans you can buy with seats in the back, which gives you a higher payload, but it doesn't fall before and it doesn't go off road. There are electric vehicles out there if you want to lower your carbon footprint, because the road tax on this is the high bracket and it's not very good for the environment. You can buy Tesla electric cars and try and work out of one of them. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Or you could buy a Tesla van, because I think Tesla are bringing a pickup truck out as well, but they're like 80 grand I think. So it all depends on your budget and how much you want to save the planet. So that's the look at driving the truck and the Berlingo. So let's get back and sum up. Now, it wouldn't be a review on a vehicle for a plumber or a gas engineer if we didn't see if we could get a full length or 3 meters of 15mm copper tube in the vehicle without cutting it. Now, with the measurements I gave you earlier on the backs of these, we might think that's going to be impossible, but let's have a go anyway. So first, let's see if we can get it in the back of the Berlingo. So if we open the back of the Berlingo, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that even corner to corner, there is no way this length of tube is getting in the back of here. But the Berlingo's got a trick. All I've got to do is pass the pipe through the bulkhead, going towards the footwell in the passenger side. Then I need to go around to the front, slide the pipe into the footwell, and it's in. I can even do that with 22mm pipe. Bit stuck on anything bigger than 22 though, but it's in. So technically the Berlingo can take a full length of 15mm tube. Let's see if that can. Let's try the old Ranger then. Now, I don't work for NASA, but even I can see corner to corner that ain't going in there. But what I could do is I could strap it to my little bar there and have it hanging over with a rag on the end to show people that I've got a long load. Or I could drive with the tailgate open. I think that's legal in that, or is it illegal? Anyway, so even with the truck, I could strap copper to the bar going across there. Or I could do the normal thing of buy a roof rack and a tube rack. I could even do that for the Berlingo as well. There are ways of carrying copper tube on a Ranger or a Berlingo. Just get a tube rack. And that is the end of these two parts of which is the best vehicle for newly qualified plumbers or gas engineers between the Ford Ranger and the Citroen Berlingo. So what we found out is they can both carry a European pallet or a UK pallet. They both can't get a 3 metre length of 15mm in the pack. This one does 40 miles to the gallon, and you can get two of these for the price of that. So which one are you going to choose? It's up to you. I couldn't choose, so I bought one of each. Anyway, if you've liked these videos, why don't you give me that thumbs up or leave a constructive comment down below. If you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, then get subscribing, and don't forget to hit that notification bell because we release videos normally on a Wednesday. All I've got left to say is thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and stay safe guys.